board to order. Let's start with a roll call.
Mr. Zellinger?
Here?
Mr. Stalker?
Here.
Mr. McGinnis?
Here.
Mr. Lamuel?
Here.
Ms. Clevenger?
Here.
All right, all 5 members are present, so we have a quorum. We'll start, next item is minutes for consideration. We were provided the January 2nd, 2025 meeting minutes for approval. So if there's no discussion, I'll entertain a motion in a second to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we'll call the roll, please.
Ms. Clevenger?
Yes.
Mr. Lamuel?
Yes.
Mr. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Stalker?
Yes.
Mr. Zellinger?
Yes, and minutes are approved. The next item of business is the variances. We have one variance request on the agenda this evening. So go ahead and read out for the record the variance request, please.
Application ZBOA-25-1, Andrew Pratt, 604 Everhard Road Southwest. A variance requesting a reduced corner side yard setback as required by NC of 1133.05 for a new garage structure to be placed 20 feet from the Stamen Avenue Southwest property line.
All right, thank you. So what we'll do is, how this works is to approve or do any motion, it takes a vote of 3 members. All of us are present, so the 3 is a majority. What'll happen is, it doesn't look, this is gonna be a complicated situation, but I'll have people speaking who are in favor of the variance speak first, and then anyone who's here to speak against it can go next. I tend to ask a lot of questions. Some of the other members might as well during the presenting. It's just kind of how I've been trained. It's how I get information. So with that said, I'll let whoever is speaking in favor of the variance to go ahead and stand at the podium, and you can start by giving your name and your address. This is being recorded, so make sure you just speak clearly and avoid hand gestures or or nodding in response to any questions. Okay, thank you.
Noted. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Mackenzie Murphy. I am appearing as attorney or counsel of record for Andrew Pratt. He is applicant for the variance. I guess, do you just kind of want the reasoning behind the application of the variance, or how would you like me to
Yeah,
begin?
we got your brief today.
Yes.
I was able to read through it. I think we know we've got the variance application information
Right.
and everything. Yeah, so I would just hit the high points, I guess, on what's being sought, and then if we have questions, we'll ask.
Sure.
Yeah.
I want to know, I think it's important background information that the application for the code being applied for the variance does not match the code in the brief or that was listed on the agenda. There was a misunderstanding of some kind of the code number or section that was provided to the applicant. So he based his brief on the code number that he was provided. And when I was digging into it, after I saw the code that was listed on the agenda, I realized that he was given the wrong code section. So if you have discrepancies between the application and the brief, that is why. There might be some information in the application that doesn't apply to the matter at hand because it's quoted from the wrong section.
So the code section we're here on is 113305
Correct.
DB, right?
Correct, yep.
And this is an R70 zoned property.
Mm-hmm, correct.
So, and then that
It's a single family home.
Okay, and then the setback is 40 feet, and what's being asked is for a variance of 20 feet.
20 feet, correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, with that background information, I just wanted that to be clear so that you're following, and maybe if you get confused with the application, I'm mostly going to be referring to the brief because I wrote it. So, I guess some of the high points that I have pointed out here come directly from North Canton Ordinance Code. We have a unique circumstance of this lot. It is a little bit over an acre. It's an extremely narrow lot. We have an acre that is situated with the house in the front yard, and it's pretty close to Everhard. And then we have a majority of the yard in the back. But we are on a corner lot, so the corner lot is treated, or the corner side yard is treated as a front yard, which is why we need the 40 foot from the lot line setback. So we have an existing garage and an existing driveway that comes out of the back of the home. The variance is being requested to add an additional garage as an accessory building within 20 feet instead of the 40, so that it is able to coincide with the existing driveway and be closer to the existing garage, so that we have a more concise layout when it comes to storage of vehicles, etc. Additionally, we could place the building in the rear yard. However, like I explained earlier, because of the narrowness of the lot, it would be significantly further away from the home and the existing garage. So getting utilities transferred, such as sewage, water, electricity, would be more difficult, more costly because of the location of the rear yard that the accessory structure would have to be placed on. Also, with the 40-foot setback, if we were to comply with that, it places the accessory building directly behind where the family resides in the dwelling. So all of the windows and portion or view of the front yard would be obstructed by the accessory building.
I got one question about the width of this lot is 150 feet, right? If you had to move that garage 20 feet to the left in the picture we're looking at,
Right.
it wouldn't be in the center. You'd still be able to see back there, wouldn't you?
So the house, I believe, is 24 or 26 feet back. So we'd be just a little under double that for the accessory garage if it were to be at the 40-foot setback. So I don't know if that helps with the visual.
Like my math may be off. So you got 150-foot frontage here, or width of the lot, 30-foot width of the garage. You're 20 feet off the road, so you're 50 feet into the property if you get your variance granted. You're 70 feet in if you're just another 20 feet in if you go to 40 off the road. You're still like not centered in there. There's still room to see into the backyard. You're not totally blocking the backyard, I guess is my point.
Right. No, I agree with you. It wouldn't be a total obstruction. It just would align with the existing garage and the driveway in a way that would make it extremely more convenient and cost effective to be able to utilize the driveway and the utilities and the garage on the 20-foot setback rather than the 40. And like I said before, if we chose to do the rear yard instead of applying for the variance, we are then so much further away from the building that it just almost makes the use of the building moot, in my opinion.
Yeah, that, I mean, I can see why you wouldn't want to do that.
Right.
But just, moving the garage over 20 feet to the left and having to add a little concrete to the driveway, I don't understand how the argument that you couldn't do that and be like, that's a major inconvenience or impractical somehow, because that's what we gotta look at when we're getting variances. When we're giving variances, it's gotta be a really special situation, almost impractical to not have a variance, very unique. Now, so that's why I'm like moving it 20 feet to the left, and you're still gonna be able to see back there, maybe not quite as well, but that's having a yard with an accessory structure. That's what happens when you have an accessory structure in a yard.
Right.
Now, the one question I've got is this other property.
Across the street.
This 336 Everhard Road.
Okay. Sure.
That I'm wondering about, that is, and I guess Mr. Van Gundy, is that in the city of North Canton, that property?
It is. That's actually attached as an exhibit from the auditor site. It is zoned North Canton.
Okay. So, Mr. Van Gundy, what do we know about that? property, why, in that garage? Because I don't recall a request, or approving a variance for that.
I don't believe there is a variance.
Yeah,
I believe it was approved.
I can confirm there is no variance on that. That came in a time where the city did not have a building official. I was coming on right about the time that was approved. I don't know the exact date. I did look at that one. The applicant had brought that up in the review of this, and as I had indicated to him that I wasn't comfortable with the code as it read, acknowledging that, and I did acknowledge to him there was no variance on that, that, you know, I certainly wouldn't have made that call today on that, and of course we're here today. I felt he needed the variance to make sure that his property rights were protected moving forward, on that. And I mean, I could surmise how they came to that conclusion, but I don't know.
okay. So, but there's nothing distinguishing about that property versus this one. What they're asking for here is basically a similar thing to what they've got there, right?
It is, it's very similar. In fact, I had indicated to the applicant that, you know, I would like to approve it the way, in fact, staff does not have any objection to the request here on this. But given it did not align with the zoning code, that, you know, the ordinance didn't grant me the authority to issue that approval.
Okay,
And I looked at it a couple different ways. The zoning code does allow, you know, for the infill lots, it does allow us to draw a line between the existing structures. This still wouldn't comply with that, so, with that, we went ahead and referred it for your consideration tonight.
okay, I appreciate it. The other question I've got for you, Ms. Murphy, is you put in your brief about the dower interest of Mr. Pratt. Mr. Pratt does not own this property.
Correct.
Correct?
I
Now-
actually brought a grant of authority that was executed by the wife,
Okay.
if that would be helpful.
Yeah, I wanna make sure the record's clear. Jenna Pratt, Jenna, is the property owner,
Correct, she is his wife.
and she supports this request.
She fully supports it. I just met with her and their 2 children today.
Okay, good. I just wanna make sure of that. Cause I understand dower and all that, but we wanna make sure the property owners is behind this request also. Okay.
Correct.
Anybody else have any other questions or? Okay.
Do you need anything further from me?
Not at this time.
Okay.
No, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody
Do you
else?
want the copy of the grant of authority?
Yeah, we probably should have that for the record,
Sure.
since you
Provide it.
were able to get it.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody else wanna speak in favor of this request? Anybody wanna speak opposed to the request? If not, any discussion among members of the board? I'm inclined to support the request in light of the fact that we have a similar situation in 336 Everhard that is there. It looks like an apples to apples comparison to me. I don't like treating people differently. There's nothing distinguishing about that property versus this one. So based on that and the fact that the city and the staff of the city do not object to this, I'm inclined to support this request. I don't know if anybody else has any other thoughts or anything.
Well, I guess I have a question. Does the city have a remedy on 336, the other property?
We don't. If the property owner does seek to have, at this point it is a non-conforming, it
Right.
is legal because
Okay.
the city did issue a permit
Okay.
for that. The inspections took place, the final inspection was completed on that, so it currently has a status of a non-conforming use on there, so unfortunately, at this point, if there was a catastrophic loss, they would not be able to rebuild that. They would have to come before this board and seek the same variance to rebuild. But at this point, because it was issued a permit and inspections took
Okay.
place, then it will remain as a non-conforming
Okay,
structure.
so as it sits, it's legal.
Right.
Okay,
right.
all right, so I think that's important.
It is.
To my mind, that's important for this
Absolutely.
case. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else?
I mean, because of that, I would be aligned to approve as well, inclined to approve.
Yeah, that's, okay. And based on that, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we, grant the variance.
I'll second it. And we just call the roll.
Mr. McGinnis,
Yes.
Mr. Lamuel,
Yes.
Ms. Clevenger,
Yes,
Mr. Stocker,
Yes.
Mr. Zellinger,
Yes. Okay, the variance is approved. Thank you very much.
Very much. Do you need me here any further? Any
Nope,
other
I don't think
issues
so. Nope,
applicable to the variance?
nope,
Okay.
we're good, thanks.
Thank you all so much.
And if there's no further business to come before the board, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. And do it by voice. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.